Hi, I'm David Cerrone, President of Fitch Construction, and this is our first training video on training in the appointment center. If you're watching this video, you're probably learning how to answer the phone and what's important to make sure that we capture all the information. So today, this first part, we're going to talk about why this appointment center position is so important. Many people have heard it said that nothing happens unless a sale is made. Well, actually, that's not true. Really, it's nothing happens in a business until a salesperson has a lead or an appointment to go out on. So the appointment center is extremely important. And we actually watch and we count and we manage and we manipulate that information that comes in. Another little saying too that some of the staff have heard, leads are like concrete. As long as the concrete stays liquid, we can keep it moving, right? But when we don't touch the lead, when we don't touch that prospect's information, the concrete gets solid and then it's invaluable, it's lost. We might just throw it out. So leads, we need to make sure that they're constantly being touched and contacted by phone or by email, etc. So leads are very important. Fitch Construction is a 30-year-old company. Actually, we're 31 years old. I am the president, and we started with just a company of one, me, myself, and I. And we've grown into one of Rochester's more well-known remodeling companies. We carry products anywhere from Andersen windows to Four Seasons sunrooms to total basement finishing. We've really grown up in the community, and people know and trust us. Our vision at Fitch Construction is a world filled with fantastic home improvements for our clients to relax and enjoy life in. Our mission is to equip and empower our team of Fitch professionals to deliver breakthrough performance every day, giving our clients a wow experience. And our values are quality workmanship, teamwork, trust, education, and growth. So I love that in our mission statement, breakthrough performance every day. That we want to give our customers a wow experience. It's all about our customers, right? It's all about our customers saying, wow, those people over at Fitch are fantastic to work with. And I really like them. I can tell that they're really concerned, that they really love what they do. We've all been to restaurants where the food tastes just a little bit better because the waiter or waitress really took care of us. And so we see ourselves as servants here at Fitch Construction. We're serving our customers. There are some customers that are very easy to please. There are some customers that are very difficult or almost impossible to please. And of course, we always want to make sure that we give them our best, that we give them breakthrough thinking every day. Okay, so we have a lot of great tools that we implement here in the appointment center. We use leads. There's a lot of great information that we pull from and that we follow. And then there's also Take the Lead, which is from Basement Systems, from Total Basement Finishing. So this is a real craft. Working in the appointment center it's not being a receptionist. It's really, again, trying to serve the customer in the best way. And then, here's a new idea, we see the lead as an asset. So really the person in the appointment center what are they doing? They're really working and managing an asset. If we take all the leads in our database in what's called a customer relationship management system, we use MarketSharp. If we take all the people, all the prospects, all the customers in our CRM, that has a certain value to it. And that value, it's an asset. So we really talk about lead management as asset management. Okay, so there's a lot to learn But one of the biggest things to talk about is how we sit and how we we're picking up a telephone, right? And or we're answering a telephone. And so there's a lot of basic things that I expect as the owner for all of our appointment center or anyone that's answering the phone, inbound calls or talking with a customer, how they're going to actually do that. And the phone is a great thing in that it's sometimes the first verbal contact that we have with a customer. So how we do that is really important. One other little thing too, before I get into talking about what we say or the script that we all follow, is another great thing is the 6 roles of the appointment center. It's another fantastic tool that we implement here at Fitch Construction. The 6 roles of the appointment center, for the most part, there's the catcher, what they call the catcher, and the catcher is catching inbound phone calls. Someone's calling in, they're interested in a sunroom, or they're interested in a skylight getting replaced, or they're interested in a basement. So that's a catcher. And we pay a little commission every time an appointment is set for the catcher role. The recycler is, we already have that person in our database. Or maybe the person had an appointment, but there was an illness in the family, or there was something that came up, so they had to we have to reschedule. They cancel the appointment. They haven't seen us yet. So the person in the appointment center doing those calls, actually calling the customer again, and or emailing the customer, is called a recycler. Showtime is something where sometimes our appointment center staff will work a home show or a home and garden show. So there'll be more on that later. And the surfer is someone who actually is looking for internet leads that populate on maybe inbound email, or that person has to go to a website to actually get the information, and then contacts the prospect to set an appointment. So that's called the surfer. Perennial is another one. Actually, we've been doing on just sunrooms. We have this huge database of sunrooms, and as you can imagine, the perennial position is just someone that's calling for annual service or biannual service, maybe on a sunroom, or just checking up with customers to see how they're enjoying their new kitchen that we remodeled for them. So that's a perennial. And the hunter role is someone who actually calls unsold prospects where we've actually had the pleasure of meeting with, we've given the customer a price, a proposal on some work to do in their home, and they just decided that we couldn't sell it. So the hunter role, that person gets on the phone and sees if they can't turn around and sell that customer. So that's the 6 roles of the appointment center. Most of what happens in the appointment center is catcher, recycler, and the surfer roles. And of course, each one of those receives a basic commission. We used to call our appointment center, we used to call it the call center, but that wasn't really a good title, because what do we want people working in the appointment center like you to do? We want you to set appointments. One of the quotes that I've memorized that I basically picked up from Leads, and this is a good segue into our next section, and that is from Leads. They say that a poorly set lead is sometimes worse than having no lead at all. And what that means is that when we're talking to a prospect on the phone, we need to understand and get information on all decision makers. We need to have a good understanding where the home is. What color is the house? What's the nearest side street? How long have they been thinking about this project? These are key questions that we have, and we have really easy to use questionnaires that if you just follow along with the questionnaires and fill that information out from start to ending, we'll have a really good idea on how to best serve, there it is again, our customer. By not having all the information, we're really doing a disservice to our customer, and we don't, when the salesperson goes out to try to solve a problem or get them what they want, if we knew that little nugget of information that, hey, they're planning on living in their home for as long as they can, as an example, that really helps. So it's the craft, the talent of the person working in the appointment center to make the customer, the prospect, feel really good, and to capture all that information. Okay, so one of the things that we do here at Fitch Construction is we have a script that we always say. They say that, so all of us follow this script. Matter of fact, this one is for Terry, and I'm going to explain to you how we came up with the script. Everyone answers the phone here the same way, even me. It's a little pet peeve that I have. I wouldn't say it's a pet peeve. Again, it's all about what? It's all about serving the customer. So we serve the customer best by following this script. Alright, so before we get into the script, you know that when we communicate, just as I'm communicating to you right now, I'm using my hands. I'm using my eyebrows to communicate. So those are things that are called body language. And body language, they say, is 50% more received, okay, better than our verbal words. That the human brain actually oftentimes doesn't retain all the verbal words. So how we communicate in our body language is considered to the receiving brain as more believable than actual verbal. Does that make sense? Okay, well, wait a minute. Someone's calling Fitch Construction looking for a sunroom. I mean, they're not going to see. They don't see that we're sitting down or standing up. Oh, yes, they do. They can tell. The ears can tell if you're excited, if you're depressed, if you're having a good day, if you just got done with a meal. The ears are designed to learn and understand all of these things. Therefore, what I expect is that when the professional appointment center, the person, the craft of the business, right? The talent part is to sit up straight, have good posture. If need be, stand up. Sometimes doctors say we sit down too much anyway. So, but good posture when we're sitting down and a smile. You can, sometimes we actually put a mirror up for people that are just getting new to the appointment center, just so that they can see themselves, right? So I don't sound more energetic and more enthusiastic if I'm smiling, right? So that's what we want you to do. We want you to be excited that, hey, this person might be buying a sunroom from us, and that means we all get to work. People in the production department, people in the appointment department, people in the sales department, our carpenters, everyone has a job because the person that you're talking to might actually buy something from us. Okay, so one way to read this script. Thank you for calling the Fitch Design Studio. How may I direct your call? Yes, I'm interested in a sunroom. I want to speak to someone else. Well, my name is David Cerrone, and we would never say it like that, right? We would say it like, thank you for calling the Fitch Design Studio. How may I direct your call? Well, yes, I'm interested in a sunroom. Well, my name is David Cerrone, and I can help you with that. And your name is? Why do I say David Cerrone? I mean, I know who I am. They really don't need to know who I am, but yes, we use the first and last name because we want to get their first and last name. And so it's the law of reciprocity, of reciprocalness, okay? If I give you my first and last name, then you're going to be able to give me your first and last name. So, thank you for calling the Fitch Design Studio. How may I direct your call? Well, yes, I'm interested in a sunroom. Well, my name is David Cerrone, and I can help you with that. And your name is? Well, my name is Bob, And Bob, your last name is? Again, I'm upbeat, I'm positive. My last name is Bob Brown. Okay, thanks, Bob. And smile. Because that makes Bob feel that he's called the right place. By the way, Bob calling in, our fictitious Bob Brown is calling in, and he's not talking to, for sales, press 01. For accounting or accounts payable, press 3279581. Right? He's talking to a live human being. And to me, as the owner, that is very, very important. That we could easily buy a telephone automation system, but I want my customers, my prospects, talking to a real upbeat, positive person on the phone. So just to do this again, thanks for calling the Fitch Design Studio. How may I direct your call? Well, I'm interested in a sunroom. Well, my name is Dave Cerrone, and I can help you with that. And your name is? Well, my name is Bob. And Bob, your last name is Brown. My name is Bob Brown. Okay, thanks, Bob. Hey, Bob, just in case we get disconnected from the number, Bob, just in case we get disconnected, the number where you are calling from is, notice my question, I ended my sentence with a question. Bob, just in case we get disconnected, the number you are calling from is? Well, it's 721-1257. Okay, great. 721-1257. Is that right? Yes. Okay, thanks, Bob. Well, I've just got a few questions so that we can get you an appointment, okay? So another statement here is, Bob, I'm going to ask you a few questions. And once I get those questions answered, I'm going to get you an appointment, which is what he wants. We go back to this by asking these questions just as a waiter or a waitress ask questions to best serve their person that they're calling on. Okay? So I'm going to let him know that I've just got a few questions so that we can get you an appointment that opens the mind, right? That opens the mind, the prospect's mind, that we're going to ask you a few questions and be ready. Okay. So this is on everyone's desk, and so for this one says for Terry, but it's something that we want you to memorize. And when you get really good at it, you don't even have to look at the piece of paper because it's built in. Okay, more on that later, on the scripting later, because there's many questions that we ask, but that's basically script 101. Okay, one other thing that we're going to talk about in the appointment center, just as I was saying before in the beginning of this, was that nothing happens in a business unless someone makes a sale. We know that that's not true. Nothing happens in a business unless a salesperson has a prospect to go meet with, an appointment. We're in our next chapter, we're going to start to go over some vocabulary and stuff like that we use. We'll talk about more about our customer relationship management system, Market Sharp. But what I want to end this chapter with is just how business works. Okay? So, and we'll pick on sunrooms as our example. We call this the building blocks of a business. So, in how Fitch Construction works is we have 3 building blocks. And this is a nice, easy, simple way to think about the business. But what we have is, if we are doing sunrooms, and say we want to do $1 million a year in just sunrooms, how does that work? How do you, in the appointment center, how do you tie into this whole business? Okay, so we call this the building blocks exercise, and this is actually our appointment center. So I'm just going to abbreviate appointment center, and which is really part of our marketing. Part of the business. And then the middle building block is our sales, right? And then this last building block is our production department. So this is our production department. So we know that to do $1 million in sales, we need so many number of appointments. Okay? So hopefully marketing is doing a fantastic job in our advertising and various places in the community, or people driving by here, or referrals or word of mouth. We'll talk more about sources of leads later. But we need so many number of appointments to generate so many number of sales. And so we know that in whether you're a catcher, a surfer, or maybe even a perennial caller. We've had some great luck with our perennial, with Clyde, making calls to our existing Sunroom customers and generating some really good business from that point. But I just want to leave you with this idea that this is so important, that each one of these building blocks is important. We know that in our production department that we need to do about $1 million of installation, that what we might actually need 3 crews, 3 installation crews. We know to sell $1 million in Sunroom we need 2 salespeople, and we know that in our appointment center that's going to generate, we're going to need about 300 appointments a year. So that's kind of how the numbers work. I'm being very general here, but I just want to leave you with the fact that our building blocks are very core. Each one of these building blocks is just as important. There's not one building block that's more important. So what you're doing is really important. And so just to summarize, we've talked about a lot of different things. Ultimately, it gets to serving our customer as if we are a waiter or a waitress, and smiling and good body language, following a script. So there's all kinds of audio tools, DVDs to watch from each of these, and to become a master in the appointment center is really important, and it's a craft that takes constant work. Thank you.